Introduce myself again and stand back so I don't cut my head off on Facebook. Okay, so welcome. Happy Wednesday, a little bit earlier than our usual live on Wednesday, and I'll explain why in a minute. I'm Sarah Bramall. I'm one half of the Coaching Catalysts duo alongside my lovely co-founder Rebecca Daniel, who is currently on maternity leave with her beautiful little baby boy. So that's Rebecca's second baby, and she's got an absolutely beautiful baby boy and is enjoying her time with him. So we wish Rebecca all the very best, and I look forward to when she's ready to come back. It will be wonderful to have her back. At the moment it's me going solo, so I'm one half of the Coaching Catalyst duo. And we're going to be talking today all about the summer holidays, suggesting and offering support for parents predominantly, but also thinking about our teachers as we go through the summer holidays. And sorry, I'm just peering at my phone. So it's Sabi Has, you've joined. So on Instagram, thank you very much for being here. Come and say hi, come and let me know how you are doing today. So we're going to be talking today all about the upcoming summer holidays. Of course, for some of you, the summer holidays may have already started. You might already be in the thick of it. And for lots of us here in the UK in the heat wave, we got a bit of a shock, didn't we, this week, because some of the schools had to close because of the heat. And so we had our children at home even earlier than we expected. And that was definitely the case for me. My younger two were in primary school this week, but the secondary school closed. So I had my 14-year-old, bless him, and all his gang of mates hanging around as if the summer holidays had already started. And I was like, hold on, guys, I'm still trying to work here. So we've already had a bit of fun and games this week. But we're going to talk about what we can do today to offer support for parents and teachers. Just some things that maybe have worked for me. There's no easy answers, no quick wins with this stuff, but just to offer some suggestions, and we'd love to hear from you while you're listening as well. What works for you? What has worked for you in the past? Or what questions do you have that you might look for support with? So in terms of entering the summer holidays, my first thought is, oh my goodness, we are all so tired and emotional. Now, Rebecca and I were both in teaching. I was in teaching for 18 years, and I knew that by the time I got to the end of the school year, I was absolutely wiped out. I'd given it everything I'd got, and I was absolutely tired and emotional. And I see that now in my three children. So my children are 14, 11, and just turned 8, actually. Absolutely exhausted and emotional. Hey, if you're joining over on Facebook or on YouTube, come and say hello, because I can't see who's joining, but come and say hi. Let me know how you're doing. And so sometimes we go into the summer holidays with that sense of excitement. Oh my goodness, it's going to be wonderful. We're going to do some lovely things. And actually the children can be absolutely horrendous initially. So first thing probably is managing our expectations of ourselves. As parents, we're all exhausted as well, right? We've got the year 6 shenanigans. My middle one's just leaving year 6. It's been a really, really busy time, and we're just exhausted from that. My youngest has just had her birthday. There's been a lot going on. So we're kind of tired. We're maybe running on empty, but the children are completely exhausted, because primary schools particularly are really crazy, crazy places towards the end of the school year, because it's all going on: the sports day, the class parties, this, that, and the other. and they're shattered. And so sometimes what happens is when we go into that first week of the holidays, we have these lovely ideas about how it's going to be, and actually the kids can be pretty foul. So just preparing for that, maybe just thinking about, okay, maybe I'm not going to expect too much initially. I'm not going to kind of overschedule. I'm just going to know that maybe there's going to be a few days where they're pretty grotty and pretty emotional. Let me know if you agree. Maybe I'm just talking about what goes on in my household. I'd be really interested to hear. So what do we do as parents to help us through this time? It's a long time. It's a good 6 weeks. For some of us, it might be even longer than that. It's a long time when we're trying to manage what's going on at home. And that in itself is enough of a job, to manage what's going on at home and keep children entertained during that time. If we're juggling work on top of that as well, that can be a real challenge and it can be tricky. So we talk about this message quite a lot at the Coaching Catalysts, about asking for support. We find it really hard as women because we've all been brought up with this notion, thanks to the 70s, I think, that we can do whatever we want, we can do everything, which is great for female empowerment. But the reality is for us as women that we kind of think that we have to be able to juggle all of it all of the time, and that we have to be this kind of superwoman. And of course we're not. We can't possibly do everything all of the time. So first of all, where can you get support? How can you ask for support? And I talked a little bit about this last week. So first of all, have you got family who are in a position to support you? Ask them. Have you got friends where you can share the childcare? So you can say, right, okay, I'll have your kids these days. Would you be able to have my kids these days so that I can work? Share the load. For years and years, it took me a long time to learn this, but I always really kind of skimped with the childcare. I was like, oh no, I don't need childcare. I'll be fine. I'll somehow wing it. Doesn't work for me. It didn't work for me. And I've learned with time that actually it's worth investing more in childcare if you're in a position to, just so that you can open up that time so you can actually get some work done or do whatever it is that you need to do. Hey, Blossom Tree Social over on Insta, thank you for joining. I'm a bit earlier than usual. Another tip for the summer holidays, and this is one courtesy of lovely Helen Hampston, who runs the Mummies Gin Fund community. Give me some love if you know what I'm talking about. Helen's an absolutely amazing lady. She's got 4 children, and what she does is she gets up a big schedule. I think she uses like old rolls of wallpaper and sticks them on the wall for her 4 kids, so that they can all see where they're going to be and what's going on, when she's working, all of that stuff. So it's all there in front of them on the wall, so that she doesn't have the whole thing. And this is such a good tip, and I've learned this and done this with my kids, so that you don't have the whole thing of, Mum, what's happening today? Mum, what are we doing today? Mum, Mum, when's lunchtime? If you can get it mapped out and stick it on the wall so the kids know the routine, that takes a bit of the mental load off you. Another thing that has worked really well for me is to contract with the kids. What do you expect of them in the holidays? So even down to simple things, that in term time, my children are very capable of making themselves a packed lunch and taking it to school. Yet suddenly we get to the summer holidays and it turns into Mum's Cafe. I'm hungry, Mum, I want this, Mum, I want that, Mum. So it really helps me to contract with the kids and go, okay, I will cook you dinner in the evenings, but you are responsible for getting your own breakfast and making your own breakfast, and you're responsible for getting your own lunch and making your own lunch. And sometimes it helps if I supervise them in the evenings to make their packed lunch for the day, so that they have that the next day, so that I'm not constantly, especially on days when I'm working, I'm not constantly in the kitchen running a cafe alongside trying to run my business. That's a good tip. That's a top tip from me. So contract the kids. What are you looking for? What do you expect them to do? With my kids, they're a little bit older, maybe some of you got younger kids, but I expect them to still like keep their rooms tidy, do their kind of baseline jobs, we call them baselines in our house, but also to do some reading and to do some exercise before they go on to technology. So just having, not kind of crazy expectations, but just having some conversations around that, about what's going to work for you, can help. Hey, who's that? I can't say, is it Zaina? Hey Zaina, thanks for joining. Really lovely to have you with me. Talking about during the summer holidays, are you a teacher? Do you have kids? How do you manage the whole juggle around the summer holidays? Next tip is to let things go. I can't run my business, look after my kids, keep a perfect household, all at the same time. I just don't have, well, maybe if I did have that capacity, but if I'd be exhausted. So just think, okay, what's important? And for me, it's important that the kids have a good summer. That's important. But it's not important that the house is immaculate all the time. It's also not important that I do all of the things in my business over July and August. I know when we go back in September, high energy again, go, 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 let's get going on the business. For July and August, it's about dialing it down. Now, if you're in employment, sometimes you have kind of less flexibility about how much time and energy you put in. But where can you, in your work or in the rest of your life, where can you just dial it down a little bit so that you don't have to be going at 100% there? So let things go. Where can you let things go? I know that I talked about contracting a minute ago. I know that technology with older children can be a real kind of battleground. So again, it's worth sitting down with the kids at the beginning of the holiday and doing some contracting. How much tech is reasonable? How much is productive? Because kids generally actually are pretty sensible and they know it's not healthy to be on technology all day, every day, right? Do you agree? I hope you agree. How are you going to contract it and how are you going to manage it? So that everybody's in agreement beforehand, so that when it's time for the time limit to run out or you physically take away the tech, so you don't get into that position of having a great big argument. And then just to say as well that boredom is good for children. It's not great. We all know it's not great for them to be on tech all day, every day, but some tech doesn't do them any harm. But also it's really, really good for them to get bored. And the reason is because in schools, and I know this again because of my teaching background, but also as a parent, schools are super, super scheduled, pressurized environments these days. Even in primary schools, they've got so many targets they're trying to hit all of the time. Every 5 minutes, they're like moving from place to place. The pressure is really, really intense. And what the kids need actually is they just need that downtime to get bored, because what happens when we get bored is we get creative. We go, okay, I'm bored, and stay in that place of boredom. And then eventually we go, okay, but now I'm going to make up a game, or I'm going to do some artwork, or I'm going to get outside and do some exercise, or I'm going to do something. So actually don't be afraid, don't feel guilty about letting them get bored, because great things come from boredom. This is all based on my opinion, but it's based on a lot of experience of teaching and of parenting as well. And another thing my kids like to do, and I like to encourage my kids to do, again, you can take this or leave it, but they like to set themselves little challenges over the summer. So, the library runs like a reading challenge. It's nice to do the reading challenge. You might want to do that. My middle son has decided he's going up to secondary school in September. He wants to get good at running this summer. So I'm going to help him over the summer to put together like a running program so that he can get that. Now he might do it, and he might do it for a few days or a few weeks and give up. That's okay, but just let them set themselves a little challenge. Like, what are they going to challenge themselves to do? Whatever that thing is. I'm sure that my daughter will have some ideas as well about what she wants to focus on. And my son also wants to try and go vegetarian. So that'd be interesting. We'll see how long that lasts. So that's my top tips. Okay, so number one, expect the kids to be tired and emotional at the beginning, because aren't we all? Number two, make sure you ask for help, get help however you can, wherever you can. Number three, communicate. So make sure everybody knows what's going to happen in the summer, like what the routine of the day is, what you expect of them in terms of behavior, all of that stuff, what they can expect of you, when you're going to be working. Communication really, really helps. Be kind to yourself and let things go. You don't have to be perfect all of the time. And that goes with parenting as well. Yeah, we want some boundaries around technology, but actually it's good for the kids to get bored as well, because it makes them more resourceful, makes them more creative, and encourage them to take responsibility for themselves, for their time, for what they want to focus on over the summer. So I think that is it. That's kind of a whistle-stop tour of my top tips. Now, we did say that this was for parents and for teachers. If you're in teaching, firstly, thank you. I know from speaking to my ex-colleagues and my friends who are teachers, it's been the toughest. I mean, it's always flipping tough, but it's been the toughest year, right? Because of the pandemic, it's been super hard. So thank you for everything that you do. We are so, so grateful to you. But for you, think about, okay, how are you going to rest? How are you going to replenish over this summer? What boundaries are you going to put in around work? And if you are going to work, when is that work going to be? So you've got some boundaries around it so that you can relax and enjoy the summer and not spend all summer thinking about work or all summer just popping into school to do stuff. Really think about that. How are you going to rest? How are you going to relax? Would love to hear from you. Right, love to hear from you. If you're on Insta, thank you for joining. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, thank you for being here. Give me a hashtag replay later. Let me know what you've taken from this. I've shared quite a lot. Let me know what you've taken that's been useful. If you've got tips and tricks that I haven't shared, share them too, please. Let's share the love. Let's support each other through the summer. I am going to be going away camping and taking a complete tech break, and that's probably my most effective way to rewind. That's the way that my brain calms down, by stopping trying to process and take in all of the information. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. Wishing you a wonderful summer, wishing you a happy summer. Keep the kids safe this summer. Would really love to hear from you. What are your tips and tricks for, I don't want to call it surviving the summer holidays because that sounds really negative, but what are your top tips and tricks for the summer holidays? That would be really lovely to hear. Okay, wishing you all a wonderful rest of the day. I'm off now. We've got the year 6 leavers mass, and I know we're all going to need our boxes of tissues, and we've got another party this evening for year 6 leavers, and then another gathering again tomorrow after school. So I tell you what, it's all fun and games here at the moment, but all good stuff. All right, take care, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me. I'd love to hear from you. What is going on for you? All right, take care. Bye-bye.